Hey everyone, Jay here. As always, I'm here to offer you some recommendations for ways in which we might adapt our CrossFit linchpin workouts for kids. We've got a great one today. I'm going to take a closer look at Wednesday, September. We've got one of the new benchmarks. We've got Lynn. We've got 5 rounds of max reps bench press, max rep pull-ups. We've got 2 great functional movements there that can have a lot of similarities to lots of the things that we like to see in our CrossFit Kids workouts. We've got a push and a pull. So really sort of antagonistic movements there. So I'm going to offer you 2 options today. I'm going to offer you an advanced kids and then a less experienced kids. And then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of the ways you might approach that in terms of some of your focuses, where your focuses might be. And then I'm going to talk about the games and keeping it familiar. So let's start with our advanced kids. So we're going to keep the 5 rounds of time, or 5 rounds of, sorry. We're going to have a sort of extended Tabata with an extended rest period. So they're going to go 20 seconds of push-ups. Remember, it's going to be max effort push-ups. However, it has to be as virtuous as the children can do it. So we're looking for quality of movement. So that's quality max effort instead of bouncing off the floor trying to get as many reps as they can. Really important. Quality of movement is what you're praising with your children there. So if you've got 2 children next to each other and one is bouncing off the floor going as fast as they can, but their points of performance are being missed ever so slightly, and then you've got a child next to them that is moving nicely through that range of motion, they're hitting the places they need to start and need to finish, and they're maintaining a nice solid midline as they're going up and down, your praise is going to be heavily on them. And that positive praise on that child will then hopefully carry over to the children around them in the vicinity, and they'll start to move better. So we use sort of positive reinforcement rather than picking up on the negative of the other child. Then it's going to be an extended rest, 40 seconds rest. It seems quite a long time, but there's actually quite a lot of work in that 20 seconds. And then it's 20 seconds of pull-ups. Now, you're probably at a stage now of your advanced kids where they're either doing strict pull-ups or they're doing kipping pull-ups because they've been crossfitting for a significant period of time. Now remember, advanced kids isn't necessarily an age, it's how long they've been doing CrossFit. It's their sort of mastery of those movements, if you like. So you could have a young 8, 9, 10-year-old who's already doing strict pull-ups. Likewise, you might have a less experienced child who's sort of 12, 13, 14, who might be using one of the lower progressions, one of the easier progressions. And then another 40 seconds rest, and then you're going to work around that 5 times. Now remember, it's important that you're looking out for quality of movement here and also levels of fatigue. If they really start to fatigue in this sort of workout, cut a round off. Okay, that's absolutely fine. You might not even put the number of rounds on the board. You might just have, we're going to work 20 seconds of push-ups, 40 seconds rest, 20 seconds of pull-ups, 40 seconds rests. And in your head you think, do you know, I think they're going to do 5 rounds, but it could be more, it could be 3, it could be 6 even, if that's appropriate for your children. That said, there are some children who do like to know the amount of work they need to do. So for some of your children, the fun is knowing in what the task is, how much they need to complete. So giving them the amount of rounds, but then making them aware at the beginning of that workout saying, if I see you fatigue, if I see your movement's not quite there, we're going to cut it short at 4 or possibly 3 rounds. So make them aware that you're in control of that. For our less experienced children, we've got an AMRAP for quality. So we're going to mix it up a little bit here. We're going to add some extra layers in there for some of the other things that we like to see in our CrossFit Kids workouts. We've got a push-up variation. So depending on what your focus might be for the workout, you might be focusing more on the pull-up side of the skill, or you might be focusing more on the push-up side of the skill. It's maybe dependent on what variation you want to use for your workout. So for example, if they need to spend a bit more time working on that toe-assisted pull-up, getting the points of performance there, you might just have a plank variation for that and hold it for a period of time. And I've got a plank variation that we're going to show you. It's going to be like a shoulder tap, plank shoulder tap. Recently on a CrossFit training video, Matt Evans, one of the seminar staff, he called it a gorilla push-up It's like beating the chest. So that's some great resources out there as well. And then we're going to have a 10-meter broad jump. So going from the 5 push-up variation, it might be your plank hold, it could be a warm-up push-up, or it could be that some of your less experienced children are strong enough to do push-ups holding a nice tight midline. So 5 push-ups or a variation, it could be a plank variation because that's where we start with our push-ups. 10-meter broad jump, so we've got some great impact loading in there. 5 toe-assisted pull-ups. So you're going to have a video showing you some pull-up variations. We've got a toe-assisted pull-up you're going to see, strict pull-up and kipping pull-up. Some of the other things that you might do in place of that, if you're focusing on the push-up variation, it could be that you have a bar hanging progression in there. So we're looking at a smaller element of the pull-up, developing that grip strength. So it could be that instead of the focus is the push-ups, that's where you're going to spend most of your time. Then the second part is you're going to hang for 5 to 10 seconds. Then they're going to finish off with a 10-meter roll variation. That could be a log roll, forward roll, backwards roll, teddy bear roll, any roll that you is appropriate for the children that you're working with. And that could be, that's to stimulate their vestibular system. So just to recap, it's 5 push-ups of a variation, 10-meter broad jump, 5 toe-assisted pull-ups, or a pull-up variation, maybe a bar hanging variation that you'll see on some of our previous videos, and then a 10-meter roll variation. This is an AMRAP for quality. Now, the reason I put this up here for the game is keep it familiar. The children love to go back to games that they have experienced before, games that they're familiar with. They'll start to develop some of their favourite games really quickly once you play a few of those, and just have a nice bank of about 3 or 4, maybe 5 games and just cycle through those games. And remember, always end it before the fun ends. Okay, you want to stop it and you want to hear that groan because they want to carry on. So some games that we like here is CrossFit baseball. You'll see that in one of our videos that we've done previously. Pizza tag, you'll also see that mentioned in one of our previous videos. We've got rope swing bowling. That is when you set up some foam rollers in the shape of Skittles near a rope, and then you swing on the rope and you try and knock down as many of those foam rollers as you can. It could be ab mats, it could be anything that you can stand up. We've got continuous rock, paper, scissors. I've shown you a video of that previously. And then we've got a volcano monster. I've also explained that in one of our previous videos. So make sure you do go back and look at some of those videos including previous games. Keep it fun, don't let it get too intense, and make sure you're monitoring movement quality. Thanks very much, guys. So got some push-up options for you here. The first option being a regular push-up. So once the children have prerequisite strength, they should be able to hold a tight midline, keeping their body straight throughout the movement. If they're not quite there yet, we can have them warm up to that plank, top of that plank position. It's absolutely fine. If they haven't quite got the strength to even complete these warm-up push-ups and get to that plank position, what we'll do is we'll start them at the top in a plank position, and you can do this variation here, which is some shoulder taps. As with the push-up, we've got some pull-up options here. So I've got 3 options in the video. We've got our strict pull-ups. So if they've worked systematically through the progressions, they should then eventually get to a strict pull-up. Once they've established the prerequisite strength and can manage strict pull-ups, you can then make it dynamic. So another option could be that you're introducing them to the kipping pull-up. They would be used to the movement because they would have done some kipping toe-assisted pull-ups, moving from that arch to that hollow. If they haven't done that, this is their initial progression, toe-assisted pull-ups. You can see the arms are fully extended at the bottom, toes stay on the floor, and they pull up to chin over the bar. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you are focusing on the push-up, you might choose some bar hanging options. Here are 2 for you to use. You've got a simple bar hang, so hands about shoulder width apart, full grip on the bar, hanging in a nice dish position. Alternatively, using the same points of performance, hanging that nice dish position as much as possible, hand release and then re-grip. This is great for establishing grip strength.